This is All Elite Wrestling Unrestricted, the official AEW podcast. Tony Schiavone.
Aubrey Edwards.
You are dynamite.
Dynamite!
Yeah.
Hey, we do a show named that.
We sure do.
We do.
We're very happy to have with us this time Brandi Rhodes, who is the AEW's Chief Brand Officer. In addition to being an in-ring talent in charge of the women's division, you got a lot going on, Brandi.
Ooh, I got to stop you. I am not in charge of the women's division.
You're not in charge of the women's division?
That is a common misconception.
Okay, how about that?
But I am very involved.
Okay.
Super involved.
Yeah, but it's definitely a super team effort on that one.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just me.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Some people think it's just me.
Right.
And that like all of this stuff is just coming from my brain, and it just really doesn't make sense.
No.
Sure.
I mean, us women are a lot to handle anyway, so like putting that all in one person's really mean.
Okay.
I don't know how Dustin runs practice.
It would be pretty mean, I feel like. I mean, we can operate on a lot of levels, but I got a lot of jobs already, Tony.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so
I know. I know you do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about when you guys first, you and Cody first talked about the idea for AEW. Can you bring us back your memories of that?
Yeah. So it seemed like it kind of just overnight, the spark started with Cody with talking with the Young Bucks about some guy named Tony Khan.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'd heard a lot of names float in and out for a while, and Tony Khan just kept sticking. So I was kind of intrigued and interested, and I looked into Tony and found out that he's a legitimate person.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just a concept.
He's verified on Twitter.
Yeah. And so then, I became pretty interested in, okay, well, if this is something that's real, then what? I want to meet this person. What are the next steps? And I was actually the first person to have a meeting with Tony.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was
Tony,
great.
Tony's a bit when you first meet him.
It was a bit, and it was a wonderful bit because I was prepared for a meeting in which I would be selling myself to somebody and having to say, okay, these are all my strengths. This is what I do. This is what I'm thinking about. This is where I can help pull these things together.
And Tony knows your own background already.
Oh, when we sat down, he told me everything about myself since I was 17, and it was all right.
Yeah.
Right.
So then I was just like, cool, you want to get a drink then? Because you got this wrapped up.
Right.
You were going to take an hour, and instead this cut down to 5 minutes, so let's go.
Yeah.
Have a couple brewskis.
Yeah, so.
Oh, my God.
So now you're the Chief Brand Officer of AEW. Do you have any hesitations about taking that job? I mean, this has always been a male-dominated business and sport.
Right. I mean, the only hesitation that I ever had was the hesitation that a lot of women are made to have in positions like this, which is that people would say, well, the only reason you're doing this job is because of who you're married to.
Right.
That obviously happened. I'm still alive and I still have the job, so it didn't really hurt.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the natural thing is you don't want to do something great for yourself and then get a lot of backlash just for doing something, accepting an opportunity that was good for you.
Sure. Is it tough being married to your business partner? One of your business partners? I mean, I'm not trying to pry on your personal life, but I mean...
More so in the creative element. In the business sense, we're very like-minded.
Okay.
In that we both are very organized. We annoy people because we show up dressed up all the time.
Sure.
And,
I actually find that really awesome.
I do too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So one of the things that like people don't necessarily know like about All Elite Wrestling is like our locker room's very casual.
Yeah.
Like there's other companies, everyone shows up in a suit.
Right.
They're all dressed the nines when they show up at the venue. Whereas like I definitely show up in like leggings and a gym shirt.
Right.
And
which
like,
is perfectly fine.
right. And it's like I still work here, so apparently that's okay. But like Cody and you are always dressed nice.
That's right.
And I just like I really
Right.
respect that because it's like that takes a lot of effort. And it's like, I'd rather sleep another hour in the morning. So I don't know how you guys
More
do
so
it.
on his part than mine because he's got a 3-piece suit and then he's got to iron things every morning. And there's a lot of moving parts to that. Whereas me, it's usually just a dress and I hang that up and then in the morning I just put it on.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah. It shows. I think it shows something. It does that Cody's always in a tie and you're always dressed up and it has a presentation of, these are the people that we follow.
Yeah.
Of leadership. I mean, it really does. And Cody leads the production meetings, and
Yeah.
I'm digging all that.
It sets the tone. I like it. I like it a lot.
Right.
It's like it's still a very chill company. It's still
Yeah.
very laid back, but we still have this like legitimacy. I don't know. It's weird to say that. Like
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you
right,
mean.
and it's like
Yeah.
when you're talking about like wrestling and something like that. It's like it's funny to talk about legitimacy.
But yeah, no, I feel that 100%. I think it's cool too that we have a dynamic where some people just do what they feel comfortable with.
Oh, absolutely.
Some people wear the suits and dress up. Some people are more casual, and then we all still coexist together in the same light. You know, so.
Well, AEW is committed to diversity and inclusion, and talk about how important that is.
Yes.
Oh man, I mean, if there was anything that was my number one thing in taking on this role, it was how can I make a difference as quickly as possible in this light? Because I mean, I'm a woman of color, so I've seen a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you how old I am. Every time I do this, people freak out. I'm 36. I've been 36. I'll be 37 next year.
What?
Let's relax.
What?
But you know, I've been through a lot of different things in my life where I was always the only, you know, person with my experience, and then there was never anyone else that could relate on any level like that. And I always longed for there to be differences in discussion, and not just people like me, but people who are different that I don't know their differences, so that I can learn something. And the way that this place has kind of come together has just been really beautiful, in the fact that nothing ever comes up in these discussions when talent is pitched. It's just, they're really great with this. They have watched this video. They have a great following. Cool, let's do it. Regardless of any background, no one's sitting there saying, well, you know, we've got a guy that's doing this, you know, already.
But this one checks this box.
Right,
Like,
right.
it's never that.
It's just all merit-based. And when you just do that, it opens up the world to everybody.
Right.
As opposed to just trying to check boxes and fit people into different roles. I think we'll continue to grow and be more diverse over time. This is just the very beginning, but I'm really happy with
I mean, we already
how we've
have
come together.
Even from like the first episode of television, like a couple other people we've brought on.
Yeah.
It's like we've got multiple different backgrounds, ethnicities, sexual orientations, like all in the
Yeah.
locker room. And it's one of the best locker rooms I've ever been in, where
Yeah.
everyone's just so accepting and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a great working environment on
Super
many
great.
levels. It
Super
really is.
great.
And with that in mind, I absolutely, from day one, have loved Nyla Rose.
Oh my God, I love her.
Just absolutely.
I love
just-
Sunny Kiss.
Yeah.
So here's something that it bothers me when people bring it up about Nyla. We've all of us, myself, EVPs included, have said that we did not know.
No, you guys didn't know.
No, we didn't know anything about that when we hired her.
Right.
People are angry that we didn't know, but there's nothing on your job application that says, hey, you have to tell us
What
your
diversity
sexual
box
orientation
did you check?
is.
Right.
Yeah.
So how would we know?
Right. Exactly.
Are you
Unless we
married?
had,
Are you married to a
done
woman?
a really
Like,
deep dive, and you know, she's done some things. I think in other areas of media, where
Right.
she's talked about it. But I mean, unless we were really diving in like that, how would we know that?
Right.
It's actually a cool thing that we didn't know,
Yeah.
because it just goes to show that merit is what we were looking at there.
Right. Yeah, and we don't talk about it on TV.
No.
The same way we wouldn't talk about this is a person of different color. It's
Right.
just another athlete coming out.
Right.
Right.
And so that's the way.
She's another athlete just like anybody else.
Exactly.
I'm another referee just like anybody else,
Exactly.
despite there not being a lot of lady refs, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's I was very, very happy to see that like all of the words you're saying were actually like backed up. Because I come from another male dominated industry that talks about inclusion a lot, and a lot of it's all lip service.
Yeah.
So when AEW first got announced, and then it was a lot of like, we care about inclusion. I'm like, really? We're gonna see. And I was like, I got it right out of the gate. It's like, no, people really do. Like I've seen people who like white males fighting for people who are not white males in production meetings. Like, no, we need to give this person more time on TV so that this person can be connected with the audience. We need to fight for these people. We need to fight for these people. And it's great as someone who's a woman in a male-dominated industry to see all of these allies that we have backstage. And I don't think people necessarily understand how important that is, and how like we notice all of those little things. I know I do.
Yeah.
But it's like all of those are just so, it just helps build the team even more.
Right.
It's so great.
You're a performer too, so how do you balance being a performer on camera and being part of the front office?
Well, I think that I'm just bipolar, and that's, you get one side when the
Right.
ed light comes on, and then you get
Yeah.
another side after that. So
Okay. Well, it works,
I don't
doesn't
know.
it?
There might be some people in the office that think that that's just the way that it is all the time.
Right.
Well, I've heard that with some performers that like as soon as they go through the curtain, they're a different person. I think Awesome Kong's talked about that a little bit. Like
she really is.
She is. Like Kia Stevens is very different than Awesome Kong.
She actually is very scary.
She is.
Intimidates me sometimes.
She's
Yes.
And she's on my team.
right.
Right.
It's like you're not losing your hair.
Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, is she gonna turn on me? Do I not know about this?
Well, is your plan to wrestle more, or are you just going to?
My plan is to just let things develop. And that's one thing that I said from the beginning. I hope that people are happy that I've come through on that and saying that I am not going to just push myself as a wrestler down everybody's throats when it makes sense. Absolutely. I would love to be in there and be a part of it. But I think my strong points are in managing. That's what I've done mostly in my career anyways, aside from announcing, and I don't announce anymore. So yeah, that's kind of where I live right now.
Right.
Before wrestling, you were a figure skater.
Yeah.
And like performing almost at like an Olympic level, like very, very good from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anything about figure skating, but it's like you look like you were good. So
well, thank you. I mean, if you talk to my mom and dad, like I was on the cusp of having it all when I decided I'm just gonna go to college and do the college thing.
Right. Your mom and dad are also super supportive and bubbly.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Nice. So
they're
it's like,
so fun.
They're like the quintessential parents where it's like, how was she? She was the best. She was so great. They're wonderful people.
Yeah, no, they're great. They just texted me actually because I had an article come out in like a pretty prominent publication today. So
yeah.
And they didn't know anything about it, and they already have caught wind of it and texted me like links and stuff, and they're like, "We're so proud."
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, life was different before all of this. Figure skating was my chief sport since I was 4.
Ooh.
Yeah. My mom tells the story and my mom tells stories, and there's some things that you go, did that really happen? Because that doesn't sound like me. It doesn't sound like my voice.
Yeah.
But she says, we were watching the Olympics when I was 4. And I watched Debbie Thomas at the time. She was one of the only black figure skaters in existence.
Yes.
And I think she placed 3rd at that Olympic Games. She says, that 4-year-old me said, I want to do what that lady's doing because she looks like me.
Representation matters.
I don't know if I said that.
Right.
I'm sure I said I want to do that and that I like that lady, but she,
Great
she
story.
put some
It's
connections
a better
together
story when you
seem
add
like
the little
it's
bit.
above 4-year-old me,
Right.
But we'll take it. We'll say
Right.
that. That's
Yeah.
what I said.
We'll
But
take
yeah, and then it just started this crazy. Every day had to be working at this, had to be doing this. Most of my high school I spent doing half days at school because I would leave halfway through the day, and I got high school credit for my sports activity.
I did the same thing for dance.
Yeah,
like I basically used dance as an elective almost.
Yep.
And I got out of PE. I got out of class early.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had it any other way. It was really cool.
It's such a demanding sport. I mean, it is demanding not only your performance, but the push and the drive that you have to be good. I mean, you've heard so many stories about figure skating coaches and pushing the figure skaters.
Well, it wasn't the coaches.
Okay.
That sweet lady that you were just talking about,
It was her.
Jill.
Really?
Ooh, she is so calm now. But
Yeah.
had you seen it, people were scared of her like people are scared of Awesome Kong.
Yeah.
Like she would walk through the door and just command a presence,
And there's
everybody
just
would be
silence.
like, "Oh wow, is Jill happy?
Everything just
is she
stops.
mad about that performance? Like where are we at?" Yeah, she was very involved, and I think she just really wanted me to do well at all costs. So. When you look back on it and you talk about it with her now, she doesn't really like to because she's like, yeah, I think I pushed too hard. I pushed too far.
Right.
When I was 16, I banned her from coming to the ice arena because I could drive. And
Oh,
Wow.
and she had
Nothing
to
like a
get
teenager with a
back in
license.
my good graces to come back to the ice arena.
Wow.
She went a little too hard one day.
I
Yeah.
get that. Wow. So when you made the decision to depart from figure skating, what was that decision based on?
I mean, it was a pretty heartbreaking decision because it had been my life for, at that point in time,
It's your
20
identity.
years. Yeah. So I decided that, so I played with it a little bit back and forth before I finally fully quit. But I decided that I would not want to miss college. So a lot of athletes, they'll continue education online or
Right.
they'll have private like tutors and stuff like that. I didn't want to do that. I just definitely for some reason wanted to go to college and have like the full college experience, and I had to make that choice, and my parents were kind of like, well, we can't keep paying for this if it's not if it's just a hobby at this point, if it's not
because
like
figure
really a
skating's
sport.
expensive.
Oh man,
Very expensive.
It's nuts. Yeah. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go to college, but I'm going to skate for the University of Michigan, and that's going to be fulfilling. The hardest thing in the world. I didn't have a car, so I had to take a bus like to the ice arena, like here, there, and all. And I worked because I had a full scholarship, but I had to pay for my lodging and my books and things. So like,
because the scholarship only pays for tuition.
Right.
And people don't realize that. It's like, no, you still have all of these other things. You still have
a lot of expenses.
Right.
Yeah. So, and having a phone and things like that, I had to pay for all that
Car
stuff.
insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
So I would, kind of slum it to make it to practice, and it just started to suffer really bad. And I remember the last competition I did, my dad came to it because I think he knew we were drawing near the end there. And
kind of feel it coming to a close.
Yeah, and instead of my coach, he stood in the doorway. And I went out there for, thankfully, what was a short program and not a long program. I fell on everything. Like, I mean, I fell on things I didn't think I could fall on. And then I finished, thank God, at some point. And then I got off the ice and I looked at my dad and I said, that's it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And he said, you had a great run.
Right.
And that was it. And
That's
then I had to
the best
fully
response.
put it down.
Yeah. It's the best response you could have, I think, at that point.
I did teach a little bit for a while. When I lived in Miami, I taught a little ice arena, and that was fun. But at that point, I fully put it down and was like, okay, it's just not going to continue to happen. It's not going to make me happy.
Right.
It's just going to make me sad.
Is there anything, because I have a classical ballet background, so I kind of relate a lot to what you're talking about. Like, it's become such a part of your identity, and then leaving that to do something else is very emotionally kind of, like, you have to work through it a little bit. Is there anything that you got out of figure skating that you also get out of wrestling? Yeah,
it's the performance element of it. That's what was missing when I was contacted to start in wrestling. It, like, a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, oh my God, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Which, a lot of people in my position at the time, I was doing TV news, they were waiting for like the anchor job in a like top market. I was waiting for wrestling.
Right. Who knows, right? Like, who knows what's going to be the thing.
Right. So, but yeah, that's what it was. It was that performance element, because there's nothing like when you would step out on that ice and it was all you and the routine. You're going to have that moment together, regardless
music,
of everybody that's looking around. It's all of your hard work, your blood, sweat, and tears. You're going to put that out there and just leave it all out there. And it's like that every time you go out there for a match, or even when you just go out there to convey a story to people. It's yours to tell. So, and to feel like a crowd and hear their emotions and everything, it's just a very similar feeling.
When did pro wrestling get into your life? When did that start? And
actually, when I was a kid,
really?
My brother was a really big wrestling fan, and as a family, we would get pay-per-views and watch. And I always loved Coco Beware, probably because of Frankie, but let's just say it was just Coco.
Okay.
But yeah, we had like fun family times just watching wrestling all the time. My brother, as he grew older, decided he just wasn't really into it, and I lost interest too, and then we were gone from wrestling for a long time. Cut to my reintroduction to wrestling is at the University of Michigan in a women's studies class, being presented the video of Trish on her knees barking like a dog.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what is wrestling now? This is not what I remembered. This is terrible.
Right.
Cut to a few years later, getting a call from John Laurinaitis saying, we're interested in you. And I was like, no.
I'm not getting on my knees and barking like a dog.
No offense, but that's just not what I came to do. And then, of course, I started watching again and realized that the rating was completely different and none of that was happening anymore. And women were actually being treated as athletes and telling these great stories. And I was sold.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were a ring announcer for them as well?
I was a ring announcer for many years.
Okay. Did
Eden
you start?
Eden Styles.
Yeah,
that's
was
like
my
when
name.
I
Are we allowed to say that?
I don't know.
Well, we did.
We did. Okay.
Yeah, I think we are.
We'll cut it in post.
This is unrestricted.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Unrestricted. It's in the name.
That's right.
Yeah, that's actually the first time I saw you. You were Eden Styles.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, cool, great. And then I learned your name was Brandi. I'm like, what? People have different names? Like,
Did you like that? Did you like being a ring announcer?
You know, I did. because I come from a broadcasting background.
Right.
So it was
Right.
something that very quickly I took to. And, if you ever interviewed Justin Roberts and ask him, he'll say, he went through a lot of different tryouts with different potential announcers. And he said, I was the one that got it. So whatever that means to Justin, that was what happened. And yeah, it was fun and it was challenging for a while. But then it got to this point where I felt like I'd done everything that I could do with that, and that I wasn't being challenged. I wasn't being allowed to, explore and be creative and have just different things to do. And I like to do different things. So
You got to keep it fresh.
yeah.
Got to be living life.
I was personally removed from the business, as you probably know, for a long time, and I didn't realize it was Dusty that introduced you to Cody.
Yeah.
What a story that is.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
Well, so
Okay.
if we're going to be for real about
Okay.
the story, I started watching again
Yeah.
and instantly dashing Cody Rhodes. Like, how could you not
Sure.
notice him?
Absolutely.
So I noticed him and I thought, like, he was a good looking guy.
It's like,
That
it
was,
fits the
you know.
gimmick. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
But then, I never really saw him and went to training immediately, and Dusty was a trainer. So I wasn't sure if they were related, and I never wanted to ask anything like that. It seemed like a weird thing to ask. I thought maybe, like in wrestling, some people are family and they're not really family.
Right.
So that's what I thought was
Right.
going on. And then I guess Dusty was the first to tell Cody, hey, there's this new girl. She's really cool. You should check her out, blah, 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 blah. And it was like right over his head. But then we worked together at a live event. And it was crazy because he gave me all these instructions and never looked at me. It was so weird. So it was like, look just past me. So you're going to announce this, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to be mean, so don't worry. And I was just kind of like, why doesn't he look at me?
Was he shy or
I don't
intimidated
know.
or what?
I have no idea what that one was
Have
about.
you ever
We
asked
should
him?
ask him.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I have
Really?
ever asked about
We're going
that.
to ask
You've been
him.
married
Yeah.
for
When
we
like
get
6
him on
years
here.
and you never asked him.
Never asked about that one.
Wow.
He's got his own spin on the story too. He'll tell
Oh.
you this story that is it Toronto at the Air Canada Center?
Yes.
Okay. He tells a story that at Air Canada,
Right.
he gave me a hug backstage and I blew in his ear.
Oh.
And that's how he knew
Oh.
that I was into him.
I didn't know that's a flirting thing. Do people
Maybe
do that?
like in the 1920s,
Yeah,
somebody
like-
would do that. But
Like, I get that he shows up in a suit every day, but it's not like we're like that formal, dude. Like, what
right.
the hell?
Yeah. No, I'm like, that never happened. I was just breathing.
Right.
Like,
Very
Just
heavy.
breathing.
Just very heavy.
Wow, that is a great story. Talk about your relationship with Dusty, because I worked with him for many years. A very unique guy, a
Yeah.
unique person, a talented guy, and really had his pulse on the business. I mean, it's I talk about Dusty and I feel sad and I feel joyous all in one that I got to know him. So talk about him.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of those types of people where, you still miss him no matter how much time has gone by that he's been gone, because he was so just valuable to everybody all the time. He was the one person who always called me on my birthday, ahead of my own family. Like, I don't even think my own dad calls me on my birthday anymore. No offense, Dad. That's fine. I like texting. But like, he would call me every time. And if I didn't pick up, he'd leave a voicemail, sing me happy birthday, the full song all the way
God.
through.
Oh my God.
He was just very dedicated and a very family person. And, people always compare how he would say that the NXT people were his kids.
Right.
He was family in the sense that his family, obviously his actual family, they were always kings and queens, and there was never touching any of that. But he was such an open and warm person that if he called you family, what he felt for you was very real, and there was nothing superficial about that. That wasn't a name that people gave him to say about NXT people. He felt that responsibility to those people.
Right.
And he changed many lives there, mine included.
Absolutely.
He was very respectfully hard on me with stuff. Like, he always knew that talking was my, I guess, what's the word? It's what I'm excel at.
Forte.
Sure, let's do
Hey,
that.
there we go. High five, dude.
And so he
Yeah,
would
what's up?
always challenge me in promo classes, and I would have one, and I'd be like, "Man, this is gonna knock his socks off." And he would be like, "You know, it was really, really good, but I feel like I can get more from you on that," which is a lot like what I get from my husband, which is why sometimes
father, like son.
I don't love for him to coach me on those promos. Like I want it, but I don't. I actually had him and Dustin recently, and I was like having to take a deep breath because I was like, oh my gosh, all right. So he wants that, and he said, okay,
Right.
let's-
Yeah,
and
that
then
happens
I think
a lot.
Chris Jericho made his way in, and I was like,
Oh,
we're never
my
gonna
God.
get this done.
No, exactly. Everybody's got their own ideas
Yeah,
about what they
yeah.
want and how it should be.
Yeah, but it's so valuable though if you can like walk away from yourself a bit and hear what people are saying, and then try to apply some of that stuff.
Right.
Makes a huge difference.
You have to like kind of pick and choose.
Yeah.
I get it. We're at AEW Unrestricted, the official AEW podcast.
Exactly.
We're talking to Brandi Rhodes. She's breaking the table as we discuss things. But I've broken it like 3 or 4 times today, and I just kind of casually put it back together, and I haven't admitted it. So I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
I mean, you did just tell everybody that I broke the table.
It's our secret. No one paid it. They fast forwarded past this part.
Big Star Wars fan?
Yes, and I apologize for whatever that was. It's not going to happen again. Okay, yes, big Star Wars fan. And not as big as Cody, because
Sure.
Cody
Cody's
has
a
been watching
huge-
from the very, very beginning, but I am caught up
Yeah,
on
he's a
everything.
Star Wars knucklehead is what he is.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I call
Yeah,
him.
we'll say
Right.
that.
Knucklehead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows all the names and
Yes.
different things. And
But I'm starting to get there to where I'm saying stuff to him, and he's being like, all right,
Yeah.
you're
A legit fandom.
yeah,
going
taking
on.
this in. Mandalorian is everything.
Yeah.
The
in
baby,
my life.
the Baby Yoda show.
Yeah.
I refuse to call it the Mandalorian because Baby Yoda's.
Yeah?
That's the reason why I watch that.
What
show.
if we don't know his name is Baby Yoda though?
Doesn't in my mind. It's
Do you
Baby
think
Yoda.
he's a baby?
I mean, he sounds like a baby. They're playing baby sound effects.
Maybe he's just doing that to work people.
I think he's working people.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I think he's working people.
I hope I'm getting worked because it's
I-
awesome. I love it. It's
I think-
adorable.
I think he's going to say something. But a fan of Disney overall?
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah,
Got Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Doing that thing.
right.
Watched Frozen for the first time.
Oh.
Really charmed that Elsa was actually a heel at first.
Yes.
Really
Isn't that
like
great?
that.
You never
Yeah.
really think that that's going to happen when you see all the trailers for the movie.
Yeah, no.
And then watching it, you're like, wow, this is actually a really deep character.
Yeah.
Because I'm expecting like a ditzy blonde princess. And it's like, oh, no, you've got some
she-
layers to you.
She
Okay.
had lots of layers. She was great. She was fantastic. One of my highlights of Disney Plus so far has been I put on Lady and the Tramp.
Oh.
And Pharaoh literally got up from his spot, looked at the TV,
That's a pretty lady
and then
dog.
was doing the
Oh, wow.
The leaning
back
the
and
head
forth.
to the side.
Like, it was so great.
Yeah,
I was like, he literally thinks this show's for him.
right.
So you've got 2 other dogs. You've got the Cheese Boys,
Mm-hmm.
who are like, anytime I see them on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I love the Cheese Boys. Especially, I think it's Colby.
Colby Jack and
Colby
Monterey
Jack.
Jack.
Yeah, Colby
Yeah.
Jack, Monterey Jack.
Kobe Jack, he's a legend.
He is.
Legend in his own time.
Cody always
Like,
says that. Kobe Jack, he's a legend.
He's a legend. I love it. And he always looks like he's kind of not all the way there.
Both of those dogs are legends, though. They've been around for 16 years.
Wow.
How long? Like, how does that happen? I got them when I was in college. Like, how
Yeah,
does
yeah,
that
yeah.
happen?
Wow.
So do they respond to Lady and the Tramp the same way that Pharaoh does?
They
Or
don't
do they
watch
just make fun of
TV.
Pharaoh?
I don't think they can see as well.
These
Right.
damn
anymore.
millennials.
Yeah.
like-
So, I feel
Lady
like
and the Tramp.
they're always making fun of Pharaoh. I feel like
could see
they're
that.
Always
Right.
making fun of Pharaoh.
I think Pharaoh's the kind of dog that would be like easy to make fun of if
Yeah.
you were another dog.
Yeah.
I don't
He's
know.
just too sweet.
I love that your dogs have these personalities that come through online. Like
They
that's,
do.
That's
they
really
do.
awesome.
Colby is very Chris Tucker like.
Oh, yep.
Just always got that high pitched voice, always just yapping in your ear, nothing really to
You're
say.
just like, oh my God, like a lot to take all at once.
Yeah,
But still
he's-
hilarious.
But he's fantastic. And then Monty is just very chill. Monty's like, I think Monty is the neighborhood drug dealer. We just don't know it because he's so
The guy mowing his lawn.
laid
It's
back
like,
and
hello,
chill.
what's going on?
Yeah.
He's definitely got a meth lab in his basement.
Nothing seems to really faze Monty at all either. He's
seen
just
some
like,
shit.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Talk about your experience on the reality TV show. That one season.
Oh,
Not good, huh?
Do we have to?
Well, no, we don't have to.
No, let's do it. Let's do it.
I was going to ask you if,
Skip it.
If the opportunity came by again, would you do it? And I'm not so sure you would, or would you?
I would do my own show.
Right.
I would not do a entourage cast of who are these people anyway, besides Cody Rhodes and Deontay Wilder, because nobody else knew who anybody else in the world that was.
Right.
But people, I mean, okay, so there was a lot of stuff that happened. First of all, one of the people on the cast clearly rented a home for the broadcast so that like people would think that that was their home. And it was clearly not lived in because only one of the rooms was decorated in it and the grass was like this tall. So it like had not been mowed in
It was
weeks.
like a meadow. It wasn't a lawn
And
anymore.
then there were a lot of people, I think, renting cars too, because there were some crazy cars that would like roll up, and I'm just driving around in my like little Mercedes SUV. Like I'm like, where did everybody get all of these Maseratis?
Right.
Like where what is that?
Sure.
You just drive that around like all the time?
Nobody drives Maseratis
I'm like, come
around.
on.
So reality is not reality.
No, and it
No.
was so
It never
and here's,
is. It
here's
never
the
is.
thing though. That show could have been great. And here's why. There was real reality in that show.
Okay.
There was real heat between two girls who each thought each other were escorts.
Oh.
And tried to like put each other on blast for being escorts. So you know what
What?
that means? They were probably both escorts.
Right.
Yeah.
Why weren't we looking at this?
Right.
That was great.
Are they like
television.
stealing clientele from each other?
I don't know, but they were like back and forth on Twitter at each other, and it was getting really interesting. And then
Oh, I
people would
wanna-
be calling me, and I'm like, "Hey, I don't want to get involved in this, but really, I wanted to know everything about it so that I could know everything
that's the
about
best
it."
thing about drama. Like, I never want to be a part of it, but like, I'll get my
I needed
popcorn out
to
the
know.
moment it starts.
It was so great. So it was apparently somebody's friend
Air quotes.
sent another person a direct message asking them if they wanted a come up, which means a job to get
Okay.
some money. Apparently that person was friends with one of the girls that was on the show. There was all of this like trail.
You can make
of
a
all
show
of this.
about all of just
And
this.
they didn't use it. Instead, they tried to make a fight between two girls because they wanted to say the one girl said the other girl only married her guy because or only got pregnant so her guy would marry him. That's
God.
boring.
That's boring.
Yeah.
That's been done so many times.
Way more interesting about the
I want to know about the
situation.
escorts.
Yeah.
That just seems so much more fascinating.
Yeah. We never got to the bottom of it either. And the season got dropped.
We'll never know. We'll never know. It's the greatest mystery.
Talk about your interest in fashion.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know
You have
how
swim
interested
wear line?
I
Swimwear
did.
line?
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't do well.
It didn't do well?
If you
But-
want a swimsuit, I can give you one. I still have
think you
some
look good
in
in
my
a
garage.
bikini.
Yeah, I might.
I should bring some of those swimsuits for the girls in summer.
But
see if they want
it
them.
obviously, it's obvious something that you like. It's something you love.
I like. I guess I like to try different looks.
Right.
Well, okay, for one thing, Sandra working with us,
Sure.
she's
Oh.
the best ever.
She's tremendous.
so
she
amazing.
can bring any look to life. And that has kind of become my new like fashion thing that I'm super into is like drawing something up and then giving it to Sandra and seeing her work her magic with it.
Is that kind of how that works? Because like I wear the same uniform
yeah.
regardless of where I'm at. It's just what logo's on my shirt, right? So it's like I get
That's
black
what you
and white.
signed up for.
Right, I get black and white. I don't really have
Well,
a
you
lot
get to
of.
change your nail colors.
I do change my nail colors every show.
Right.
Yeah, we're recording
I
in
think
Dallas today. I've got
we
Cowboys.
should say that Sandra is our backstage seamstress at AEW.
Yes,
Dynamite.
yes, and she's fantastic.
And she worked at WCW years ago.
Oh my
So
God.
She's been around the business for
Yeah,
a
she
while.
has.
forever.
I
think
knew who she was before she got hired here, which
Right.
is
Yeah.
insane that it's like someone who's backstage in that capacity, who's so far behind the curtain, and it's like you still know who she is because she's legendary.
Well, she's also really great on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
Oh, she's great.
There's that.
She's
She told me
fantastic.
somebody sent her a DM and asked her for nudes.
Really?
She was very offended.
Oh.
That's what she's talking about today. It's her
I'm gonna go
topic.
ask her. Like, I heard somebody asked you for nudes. Welcome to the
She
club.
will. She will go
Like,
all in on that. for
Tony,
you.
does anyone ask you for nudes?
Yes. All the time.
I feel like other people are getting asked for nudes way more than me.
Me too. Like,
What happened?
Like, it sounds like I'm missing out, but like, which shouldn't be a bad thing, I guess. I get asked for
Maybe
weird-
because we're married.
maybe. Well, like people don't know that I'm married. Even though I've mentioned it, like I
well,
think they just like
now they
conveniently
do.
forget that fact. Like, wait, you're married? I'm like, I've literally been married like 10 years. Like, what the
I'll
hell?
bring it up on the next show.
Thank you.
To quell all the rumors.
Quell all the rumors. I get a lot of requests for feet. I don't know if you get that.
Yes,
Yikes.
that's weird.
Yeah, there was
No
one
weird people
once I
out
got a
there.
DM
Yeah.
that was like, "I'll pay you $600 for a picture of your feet."
Wow.
And I'm like, I look at my husband, I'm like, it's $600.
He's like, no.
He's like, do not give them a picture. I'm like, but it's $600.
You should
You're
have
like, what are you going to do? PayPal, Venmo?
Yeah, I
What's
was
up?
like, can you get the money first and then just not send it? He's like, don't be that person. I'm like, but it's $600.
take a picture of his feet. Pretend
Oh
it's
my
yours.
gosh.
Dude, I could do
That
that. I
would've
was a
been
dancer.
amazing.
You wouldn't know.
Brandi, here we are doing weekly TV now. World has changed for all of us. How do you like it doing this?
Oh man, it's the best thing that's ever happened. Like if I could have dreamed up what I wanted for my career at this point, given everything that I've done, in working in news and working in the wrestling business and having, background in figure skating, all that stuff. If I could have come up with a dream job, I would have said I would like to handle the PR, partnership, sponsorship end of business, and then I would like to be an in-ring talent as well.
And you get both.
Tony Khan is Santa Claus.
He's Santa
Yeah.
Claus for everybody. He's changed lives.
Yeah, he has changed
So
lives,
great.
and he's changed lives because he's a good person, and he's
Yeah.
got good
Very good
people
person.
working for him.
Very
you,
good person.
Cody, the Bucks.
Well,
Kenny
I should
Omega.
say too, Kevin Riley at TNT also Santa Claus, because had this
Oh, yes.
marriage not come together
Right.
like that,
Who knows
who's
what
to
we'd be
say we'd all be in the positions we're in right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was great talking to you.
Yeah.
We
This was
appreciate your time.
fantastic. This
Thank
was
you,
absolutely
guys.
fantastic.
Yeah, we could go on
Really
and on
fun.
and on.
Yeah.
We could.
I
We
talk
could.
way too much.
No,
No, that's what we want you to.
no.
That's
He,
what
I
we
mean,
want
he
you
gets
to.
paid to talk. I
Yes,
never
I
get
do.
to talk. I just like count to like 4, 9, and 2 a lot.
I get paid
so.
by the word, 50 cents a word.
I feel
What?
like I'm
How
gonna
could I
end
get
up
that
getting
job?
I'm gonna end up getting counted out by you, because there's so many counts in our divisions that I don't really know them all, and I feel like I will think I have more time because I don't wrestle so frequently.
Yeah.
And you're gonna end up counting me out, and I'm gonna
I'll just
be
be
like,
like, 5, get in the fucking ring.
get in now.
No, I got you. Yeah, we haven't worked together a whole lot yet, and I'm excited for when
No.
that finally happens.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
So you're on Instagram and Twitter at the Brandi Rhodes.
That's me.
That's you.
Oh yeah,
We also invite you to subscribe to our AEW Unrestricted podcast for free.
for free.
Wherever you get your podcast. Tune in to AEW Dynamite, Wednesdays, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central on TNT.
See you there.
I'm Tony Schiavone.
I'm Aubrey Edwards.
We'll see you next time on Unrestricted.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you, Brandi.
Thank you.